Women benefit more from marriage than men do.
Well, lately women are asking for divorce. The divorce rates are high and it's coming mostly from women. I think in the last decade, we have added it by 56%.
It's better to be a rich side chick than a broke wife.
Well, I would say, do you want my personal opinion? It's harder for men to take cheating lightly. Cheating for both parties breaks the trust in the relationship because women now develop trust issues. You become an FBI agent in your house.
Men are naturally polygamous. Women are not.
Hello, my name is Rachael Kinya. I'm a counseling psychologist specializing in couples therapy. And today we are here to talk about matters, marriage, and relationships. And I feel like that is important because it's a very pivotal part of society. I mean, we're shaped by our parents, family, and the family unit is very important. So today we are here to debunk a few things and challenges that tend to come up in marriage and relationships in general.
Marriage is just a contract. Love shouldn't require paperwork.
Well, I would not agree because as per the Marriage Act 2014, it was drafted to make sure that both parties are able to benefit from this union called marriage. So in conclusion, what I'm saying is that it's not just a paper. It protects both parties. Let's picture when your partner is in a coma, right? And you're the husband. You're not allowed rights. There are certain limitations that are there to make sure they protect people. And you have the liberty as a partner to see your wife or husband because of that paper. So that thing we call paper has power and it protects both parties. And we know even inheritance, we know distribution of property, even legal claim is able to rise because of that paper. So I would not say it's just a piece of paper. It's something that protects both parties.
Women benefit more from marriage than men do.
Well, let's just say I partially agree. Because I feel like depending on the dynamic of that relationship, you'd see where there's a relationship where the woman provides more and the man is more supportive. So it depends on the dynamic of that relationship. Every relationship has its own way of doing things. We've seen also couples where the man is the provider, the woman is the one who's just supporting or staying at home. So it depends with the dynamic of that relationship and how you decide to look at it.
Unhappy couples shouldn't stay together because they have children.
Well, I would say I agree. Having children is not just what determines if you guys need to stay together. Because remember, children are learning from both of you what love looks like, right? So if you're not happy, if you're not able to live together, you'll end up creating a space that is toxic. So the question is, do you want your children to see that as a representation of love and marriage? So depending on how you want to raise your kids, I would normally advise people, find a space where you can either co-parent together. If you can't live together, find the balance that should be there. Otherwise, you're just creating a ripple effect that will create humans who see marriage in a distorted way.
People jump into divorce too quickly nowadays.
Well, you've had our parents say that this generation of yours, hamko avumilivu, or you're not patient. And I would say yes, because we've learned to prioritize ourselves more than the unity that comes with that marriage or the union. So you'd find that it's all about me. And the guy is like, it's all about me. And the woman, it's all about me and how I receive or give love. But then you forget that when it comes to marriage, I would say that's a school of thought that teaches you to unlearn selfishness. And in as much as I do encourage sacrifice, it needs to be measured by, is it adding value to me in the long run? Because there's what you want and there's what you need. So what you need can be beneficial for both of us. But most of the time, what you want is centered around the self. So to answer your question, I would say that in as much as we've been exposed, we are woke, we know more, let's try as much as possible to use that knowledge now to help that relationship to grow. And say fundamentally, in as much as I am making sure as the woman I'm independent, how am I coming into that marriage? As the man, I know I want freedom, but what type of man do I want to be in this marriage that makes sure that we have a relationship that has compatibility? But most of us are not able to do that. Now it's all about me.
Love languages are overrated. True love is about compatibility, not gifts or words.
I disagree, because love is how you give it and how you receive it. Love languages are kind of a map that's there to tell you if my partner's love language is receiving gifts and mine is words of affirmation. Most of the time, you show love the way you like to receive it. So I would expect him to maybe give me words of affirmation, and to them, they're giving me gifts. So you see, there is incompatibility, because to them, they're thinking, oh, wow, I'm taking care of my woman. She's so loved. And how on the other end, she's like, why can't he understand that I just value what he says more than what he gives? So which tells you it's just a roadmap. It's like a hack that's there. So you can use it. It's not limited to just thinking compatibility is enough. Compatibility comes from these fragments. So you have to take them into account.
Women initiate more divorces because they have higher expectations than men.
At some point, I agree, because what's happening nowadays is that women have learned, we have the voice now. So you'd find that when you get into marriage, there's your career, there are the plans you had for yourself. And most of the time, being in a patriarchal society, some men tend to get threatened by this, where they're like, the woman is supposed to stay at home. They might not say it outright, where they're like, you're the housewife, but there are expectations from also the male gender that is like, you need to slow down a bit. So just picture that you're this ambitious woman and you're wanting to break away from this ideology of staying at home, because you're not that person. There's nothing wrong with the one who stays at home. So which means incompatibility comes into this picture. So you end up feeling suffocated. What does that mean? You now ask for the divorce. So lately, women are asking for divorce. The divorce rates are high, and it's coming mostly from women. I think in the last decade, we have added it by 56%. So yeah, it's because with that liberation, the male gender has not accommodated it. So in doing so, they have felt left out, or they're feeling suffocated. So they just opt out.
The normalization of dowry contributes to seeing women as property rather than equal partners.
Well, that's a tricky one. But I would say, let's take the northern part of Kenya, where if the family of the lady is struggling, they tend to sell the bride to just get financial stability. That's from now our African culture. You've seen how it's used as a way to alleviate financial struggles. But on the other end, I would say, depending on the intention of the family that is asking for the dowry, because we're evolving and we're growing. Nowadays, you'd hear parents saying, it's just appreciation. Ni kuambia mzazi asanti. So depending on the intention of your uncles and the amount they ask for, it will determine whether it was more of a transaction or it was just appreciation based on culture.
Men are naturally polygamous. Women are not.
I disagree because that is just bringing social complexities in relationships. Because you'd find that I don't know if you've met women who are inclined to sexual attraction or physical attraction more than emotional. Remember, we are different. The idea out there is that women are emotional beings. So since they're not more of logic and physical beings, then they're not driven by polygamy. They want monogamy, which is true to some women, but I would say it's not limited to just one gender. Depending on the needs of each individual, as I've said, we're evolving, we are growing, and with the knowledge that we're receiving, people are even becoming polyamorous now. There are other dynamics that are coming in. So I would say if we say men are inclined to polygamy, it's just one way of looking at it.
Monogamy is a Western scam designed to limit and control the population of Africans who are naturally polygamous.
Well, that I disagree because, as I said, it's a choice. The dynamic of your relationship. If you feel like you can sustain polygamy, well and good. Remember, when you look at history, down even from the Bible, you'd see polygamy was there. The white people had it. So if you say that it's influenced by the Western culture, then you've not read your history, right? So over time, I would say monogamy has come because of economical struggles, where you're learning now, manage 2 houses is becoming a struggle, or you're learning, maybe I don't want the headache of running 3 households. Let me just handle one and mind my business. So it's not from Western culture. Mm-hmm.
Modern relationships are transactional and not about romance.
Well, I partially agree because, as I said, dynamics in relationships matter. Because you'd find that nowadays there's someone who will enter into a relationship because they know the man is financially stable. And to them, that's what matters. But it's not normally the case. It's not everyone's story. So you'd find that there are couples who, what they say, tunajenga pamoja, start from scratch. They build together. So it was not about the money. It was about the love and other aspects of the relationship. So depending on individuals, then I would say some are transactional, others are not.
It's better to be a rich side chick than a broke wife.
Well, do you want my personal opinion? No one likes being broke, to be honest. But I don't know. That one is a tricky one. I don't think it's better to be... Because with a side chick, what's the position that's there?
Side chick.
Yeah, like you just have side chick. You're dispensable. But with financial states, you can come out of it. But you're the wife. So I'd rather go with a broke wife.
Men cheat for physical reasons. Women cheat for emotional ones.
Let's say, I'll support both. Because as I've said, women are mostly driven by emotions. And you'd hear the idea where men are logical. The dominant part of the men is logical. The dominant for women is emotional. So to some degree, yes, but it's not everyone's truth. So as I've said, women, when you look back at history, women were suppressed because culture does not allow the woman to even speak. Even look at Kushite culture, the time where they were stitched before you get your husband, so that when you're married, that's the day he undoes the stitching. And the women are not supposed to respond. You're just supposed to just lie down there and it happens. So you can see we've come from there to now women are vocalizing their needs physically, and they're able to say, I don't like this, I want this. They leave one relationship and go to another because my needs are not met, down to physical needs. So I would say out of the growth that has happened over time, that narrative is limited because it's not objective, it's more subjective. So let's say it's true, but it's also not true. It's there in between.
Relationships can never be the same after one partner cheats.
Honest opinion, from what I've observed, it's harder for men to take cheating lightly. And it's cheating for both parties breaks the trust in the relationship. And it's hard for both parties because women now develop trust issues. You become an FBI agent in your house. You'll be like, why did you come late this time? Because it breaks trust for everyone. But from my observation with handling couples, men don't take cheating lightly. It really breaks their core. So most of the time, the relationships are either irreparable or it struggles for some time. But it's workable. It takes a lot of energy and commitment. But men don't handle it the same way as women.
If you're truly happy in your relationship, you don't need couples therapy.
Well, I would say that no, you do need therapy because therapy is not all about when you're broken. It's about improving aspects of you. And maybe your level of discipline is on a scale of 1 to 10, a 3. And with therapy, you're able to get it to a 10 or an 8 or a 7. So therapy is all about growth and assessing yourself and checking yourself. Because remember, sometimes when you're dating someone, you guys are good, but you can do better. So with therapy, it helps you now come out of your limited way of looking at life, and just opens you up to even seeing your partner's perspective through the guidance of your therapist to just say, have you ever looked at it from this perspective? Would you maybe introduce A, B, C, D that would help them even grow beyond where they are? So therapy is important.
Men don't communicate enough in marriage.
Well, based on observations that I've had, that's a challenge. I've noticed most women would complain that they're not expressive or they're not open, or there's this part of him he hides or doesn't express. And I'm noticing that might be coming from culture where men are told to be tough. You have to swallow your emotions. You have to keep it cool. So you'd find that when that has been engraved, it's hard to unlearn it. It's hard to just wake up one day and start blabbering because you're not used to that. It's seen as weakness. So I normally encourage being patient and like the same way that was ingrained. You see why I'd say therapy is important, so that you unlearn it in a safe way. Because you just can't wake up today, your favorite color is black, and tomorrow I want it to be yellow. It doesn't work like that. It has to be unlearned, and then you learn another habit. But true, men really struggle with communication.
You should wait until you are as settled as possible before getting married.
Based on what I see on a day-to-day, you've had this thing where women say, my frontal lobe has developed when I'm 25. And you see the world in a different way. For men, there's always a state where you're like, now I'm good, I'm ready to get a wife because you feel like I'm stable. So I do agree that so that you don't get into a relationship and you're dumping your emotions and your traumas on someone who was not there when it was happening. It's not fair. So I would say it's important for you to figure out who you are, what you want in life before you burden someone else with that. It strains a relationship. So figure out yourself first. Helps you big time.
Your last take?
My last take would be for those who are not in relationships, before you get into one, try and figure out your identity and who you want to be before you enter into that relationship, because you don't want it to be washed down where you enter into a relationship and you're just codependent now. You're just coping. If someone was ambitious, you follow through with theirs. You don't even know where you're going. So a key component is figure out who you are, understand your limitations, your shortcomings, so that you work on them. You're getting into a relationship and it's about two people. So you don't want to be emotionally dumping. You don't want to be baggage. You want to be a partner to support in growth. So put in the work before you get into it. Another thing would be that for those who are now in relationships, assess and see whether it's healthy or not healthy. It doesn't even have to get toxic. It needs to be assessed from where it is. Is it healthy? Are we doing well? Are we heading in the right directions? Do we have similar expectations, or are we incompatible? So that you avoid being frustrated. It's 1 year and your expectations are not the same. And then you do this for 5 years and 10 years. Now there's a kid involved and you realized we were never compatible, or we never communicated. So we drifted apart so badly we can't get back together. So figure out what expectations both of you had, get into a neutral space, and then work towards it becoming healthy. For the ones that are not able to do so, then it's okay for you to let go. It's okay to accept that cheating is not the only mark that determines the end of a relationship. Incompatibility can be a big problem, in that one person has this expectation of what the husband needs to be, and the husband knows he cannot be that. And it's not because of mediocrity or choosing not to put effort. It's because you guys will never see it the same. So you need to just always have those moments of reflection as a couple and also as an individual. Don't wait for your partner to tell you you are rude or you are a liar. You don't keep your word. You lack accountability. Ask yourself, am I accountable to myself and to my partner? So that's why you see my emphasis is, if you're not able to do it by yourself, seek support through counseling and therapy. If you have someone who can mentor you, who's good in it, also talk to them to just see, how do I go about it? Yeah.